Nation of Fit and 10, welcome to day 57. And numbers were sent out today, so please check those out. They did change a little bit, more than likely. Maybe you're the odd person where they didn't change, but for the most part, they've changed, so please have a look. If you have any questions or concerns, you let me know. And if you have not booked your scan with me, please make sure you do. Okay, reach out to me and we can do it. We got one more check-in, and that's at the end of the challenge. All right. Another sweet treat. Well, this is probably not really a treat for you, but you can make some good sweet treats with a good old protein powder. And this actually happens to be a beef protein powder, which is really good. Doesn't taste like beef. It just means it's beef sourced. Okay, most protein powders that are out there on the market are, well, not most, but popular ones are usually whey-based. And that's basically a byproduct of cheese, okay? Whey does not taste like cheese. Well, maybe raw whey does, but the way they flavor it, it will never taste like cheese, all right? So don't be freaked out. You know, plant proteins, sometimes soy, sometimes pea, sometimes, I don't know, some other stuff. They never really taste, well, pea kind of does, to be honest with you. Pea's really hard to flavor. Generally speaking, they taste really good. This is one that tastes really awesome. Generally, whey proteins taste pretty good. I'll go through in a little bit how to choose a good protein powder, but a couple things I want to talk about here with protein powders is you can make some really great things beyond just putting some, mixing this with water. I've talked about some of the smoothies that I make. There are some in the booklets, but there are some other things you can do, like just mixing this in with yogurt, maybe not chocolate, maybe you want to do vanilla, and some fruit is super, super good. When it's weather like this, making the ice cream that I put up a couple days ago, right? I put up a video, oh, maybe it was a week ago or so. So check that out if you haven't seen it. And you can also do things like, again, which is really good for this weather, you can make like little peanut butter chocolate ice cubes. So you could take some milk, like a little bit of milk, you know, a bunch of scoops of protein powder, put in some peanut butter or nut butter, or even peanut butter powder. Mix it in. You could add perhaps a little bit of sweetener if you want to be sweeter. And, you know, make it somewhat thick, but not too thick. And then pour it into ice cube trays. You can figure out the macros afterwards. And you've got some really cool, high protein, if you're adding peanut butter or whatever, it's gonna be, there's gonna be some fat in there. Some high protein treats, essentially, okay? And they're really, really good tasting. You can even, if you want to make it more meal-based, you can even blend in some other things. Like you could do protein powder, peanut butter, and some oatmeal, and just blend it up. And then you kind of got a meal there because you got all your macros there, okay? Or you could have all your macros there. You certainly have some carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. You could even add some fruit to it as well. But, you know, put them in an ice cube tray, stick some toothpicks in there, and you've got a great little treat, right? Cool treat. But there are so many things that you can do with this. I used to, when I was dieting even, I mean, this was sort of a poor man's pudding, but I would take this and I would add just a bit of water. I would add a bit of sweetener to it, and then maybe sometimes like a little bit of broken up chocolate or like a little bit of peanut butter powder. My calories were pretty low, so it was generally I couldn't add too much to it. And I would stir it up, but I'd stir it very, very thick, and then I would make basically like a pudding, and I'd eat it that way. Some powders are better than others for flavoring. This one is really, really good. This is the chocolate beef protein. ATP Lab carries whey-based protein, beef-based protein, and of course, vegetarian-based protein, or vegan. Well, it's for vegans and vegetarians. Well, I guess some vegetarians could have whey. But definitely, we've got vegan proteins as well. And I've got all of them, so if you're interested, let me know. Okay, now, how do you pick a protein powder? Because that's what I want to talk about here. So let's go through a couple things that you want to be aware of when you're looking for a protein powder. Okay, so number one, make sure in Canada at least that it's got an NPN number, okay, and that it's got a CGMP, or it might actually just be a GMP. Actually, what's it Yeah, just a GMP on here, which stands for Good Manufacturing Practice. Essentially just means it's gone through a set of protocols, or the manufacturers followed a set of protocols, standardized protocols, to make this a safe and effective product, and one that matches its label claim. So look for the NPN number, like here. You can probably see there's an NPN number right there. And there's a GMP little label there. So look for that. Those are good signs of a good powder. Next, you want to look for the list of ingredients. So try to get a protein powder that doesn't have a lot of ingredients. Okay, and decent ingredients at that. So this has got basically collagen from grass-fed bovine. There is organic cocoa. There's also beef bone broth, organic flavoring, organic stevia, salt, and xanthane gum. There's a thickener in this as well. So very short list of ingredients. Generally, pretty clean. When we look at the purity of this, which is the next thing you want to look at the serving size, and then look at the amount of protein you're getting. Okay, you should be getting at least 75% purity, okay? If not 80% purity, okay? But I would say most important out of this, check out the ingredients, make sure there's no funny stuff in there, or at least there's not a million ingredients, okay? And then look at the purity, all right? So this one here is 80% pure. And finally, this is something to consider. Look at the sources of protein, okay? Generally speaking, if you want a high quality protein, then go with a whey. Whey is very high in branched chain, well, actually essential amino acids in general, but very high in the branched chain amino acids, which are really, really important for recovery and are harder to get through food. And whey is super bioavailable. So that means your body's going to take it in with no problems at all. The next sort of step down would be beef protein. Some people like beef just because they tend not to have any allergic reactions. Some people get allergic reaction with whey. Beef, they tend not to. Again, lots of essential amino acids in here. Not as many branched chain amino acids as whey. Super bioavailable. Great protein. Next, we would want to look at like a vegetarian-based protein powder, okay? And these are generally pea or soy-based, and they're obviously the way you're going to go if you're, definitely if you're vegan, possibly if you're vegetarian, although some vegetarians could have whey as well. Okay, so look at the source of the protein. The only downfall with the plant-based protein is it's just not quite as bioavailable. Okay, but one interesting thing with a lot of vegan protein powders is they are usually fortified with a lot of great nutrients in there. So quite often they'll have things in there like they'll have different plant extracts. They might have some fibers added in, and so you're getting a lot of nutrients in there. So there are some decent vegetarian protein powders with all of those additives. Okay, maybe it won't be as pure in protein, but you're getting like some other nutrition with it. Okay, message of the day. On this day 57, which is crazy, right? With 2 weeks to go. I told you it goes fast. It goes by fast. All right, this is a super important one. And I want you to remember this, and I want you to really stick this in your mind. What gets measured gets managed. What gets measured gets managed. I'm going to say it one more time. What gets measured gets managed. If you expect to manage things well, you must know the inputs and the outputs, okay? At least to the point where there's a relativeness to it, right? Okay, so to give you an idea, 2 slices of bread versus 3 slices of bread, okay? All right, so maybe we don't know exactly what's in it, but we know that we've gone from 2 to 3, and so we've upped it that amount. So you know that. Obviously, I'm a huge proponent of calories and macros. okay? And when you know your numbers and you follow those numbers, you can better manage your energy input. If you just kind of guess, if you just kind of like, well, I ate well and I watched what I ate and I made sure I ate good food, that's all great and that's important, and I'm not downplaying that, but it can get frustrating when you don't know what the numbers are, okay? And this is really akin to accounting, like financial accounting, and knowing where, you know, money is going into whatever, marketing and you know, payroll and all these types of things. If you don't manage it, if you have no idea, you can't possibly really know what's going on. You might have an idea, but you don't really know what's going on, okay? So this is why I will never take this approach, okay? If we want to know exactly what's going on, then we need to manage the numbers, right? We need to measure, excuse me. We need to measure, and then we can manage properly. All right, so keep that in your mind. Positive energy, positive vibes. Believe in yourself for the love of God. Give some gratitude, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.